That's what pay-as-you-go means. So basically, at AWS, they believe that cloud is demanding IT resources and paying for those IT resources while you're demanding for them, and you cannot use IT resources that you've not paid for. So basically, you are using IT resources that you paid for. Yeah. So another definition from Microsoft Azure is cloud computing is the delivery of computing services. So computing services, again, your servers, your storage, your database. So database and storage device, they're not the same thing. So your database, your networking, your software, your analytics, your intelligence. So because of the 21st century, I'm sure we've all heard of big data, we've heard of things like data science, we've heard of things like machine learning, we've heard of things like augmented reality. So these things are just concepts that revolve around infrastructure. So computing infrastructure, basically computers to say. So Microsoft Azure says that cloud computing is delivering of those computing services over the internet to offer innovation, flexibility, resources, and economies of scale. So economics of scale here is another word for pay as you go. So this all, to summarize all what I've been saying, basically what I'm saying is you pay your cloud service provider, right? So they help you lower the cost of operating these IT resources for whatever plan or whatever business idea you have. They also help you run your infrastructure efficiently, right? Another thing is they help you scale those infrastructure based on your business needs. So that's where the economics of scale comes in. So you are not actually paying for everything that Microsoft Azure has in their resource pool. You're actually paying for what you are using. So you are not buying your own servers, you're not maintaining your own computing resource, you're not maintaining your own network resource, but you have access to this computing power, you have access to this storage like Amazon and Microsoft. All right, this will be, I promise this will be our last definition. So cloud computing from Google's end. So what is Google Cloud? So cloud computing in Google basically is, they believe that the capital investment in building and maintaining a data center is replaced by consuming IT resources as an elastic utility-like service from your cloud provider. So what that means is initially, like if you go back to some years, the way cloud computing worked was that as an organization or as an individual, if you wanted to do some IT related things, you needed to buy physical equipment, physical computing resources. So now what the cloud providers are doing for you is that they are giving you access to these things, to these resources over the internet, right? And you don't have to pay for things that you don't use. You pay for infrastructure that you use and how long you use it and how frequently you use it. So basically, that's what cloud is, accessing computing resources over the internet. All right, guys. So basically, we've covered what cloud is, and I believe everyone has learned it. So everyone has learned one thing or the other that has to do with cloud. So next, I'll be moving to a very brief history of cloud computing. All right, so I said this was going to be my last time, but I need to ask, can you all see my screen again? Hello, guys. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, we can see your screen.
All right, thank you. So let's look at a brief history of cloud. So we're talking about cloud computing. Cloud computing. You've been seeing cloud everywhere you go, but do you really know how cloud started? So to the right side of my screen is a very short timeline. I'll call it a timeline. So in 1960, IBM and DEC. So DEC is a computer company. So it's an acronym for Digital Equipment Corporation. So they are both American companies. So in 1960, because in 1960 we knew that the kind of computers they used then were mostly mainframe computers. So computers that were very big. And for you to have such computer, you probably needed a building. So you first have to buy a building, then buy a computer, then stick that big computer into that big building. So you can imagine how expensive that is going to be, right? So what IBM and DEC decided to do was they decided to provide their computers for time sharing. So time sharing, basically, you allocate a certain amount of time for an individual to come and use computing resources. So that was that for 1960. So they used that innovation to the point of 1972. So 1972, IBM decided to develop their first virtual machine. So what is a virtual machine? Basically, a virtual machine is an emulation of a computer system. So when I say emulation of a computer system, when you emulate something, basically trying to you're trying to replicate something. You're trying to replicate a system, but it is not the exact system. It is just a replica of that system. And the way they did this was by using a technology called virtualization. So a virtual machine is basically the virtualization of a computer system. So you emulate the computer system. So virtual machines operate exactly like they operate with computer system architecture. So basically they give you the same things, the same functionalities your computer systems give you. Virtualized machines can give you those same functions. But for them to do that, they use specialized software. So that on its own is another field of IT that you can look into. So from 1972 down to 1991, people were using virtual machines. So IBM was providing people with virtual machines. So I can say for a fact that that's one of the reasons why IBM is one of the top tech companies in the world today. So if you've been innovating from a very long time, you are sure to see results, basically. So another thing I missed was the cloud symbol. So the cloud symbol you use now was used first in 1977. So that was even before cloud providers, all these cloud providing companies came about. So the first cloud symbol was used in 1977. So if you don't know, the World Wide Web now, where you go to learn and chat and watch stuff and listen to music, was originated in 1991. So when the web came, the web came with a lot of telecommunications companies. So one of those companies was Compact. So Compact is also a computer company, anyways. So the first form of cloud that's accessing computing resources over the internet came in 1991, where Compact decided to start offering what's it called, online disk file storage. So basically, a place where you can store data over the internet. So that was the first form of cloud. So just another nugget for you is that the word cloud itself was originated by Ramesh Chalap in 1997. So it is basically cloud is a metaphor for the internet. Cloud is not a buzzword. So it is a metaphor, is a way to describe the internet. So from 2002 to 2010, that was when big tech companies decided to go fully into cloud services. So you had people like Amazon, Adobe, Google, and Microsoft creating cloud services, proprietary cloud services for users, for end users like me, end users like you, end users like your family members as well. So, and now I can say in 2020, in 2019 upward, something called content delivery. So the content delivery market has been a massive boom since the 2010 days till now. All right. So that is a short history of cloud computing. If you're interested, you can go into different aspects of this history to find out more. So because of time, let's keep moving on. So the next thing I want to ask you is, why do you think you need cloud? So why do you need cloud? So like I said earlier, guys, I said before cloud was invented, companies or individuals, if they want to do large computing activities, they had to do what you call on-premise installation. So on-premise installation basically is you buy your own server, you buy your own networking hardware, you buy your own software, you plan for how do you power, for example, a place in Nigeria now, you buy all those servers, you buy all those networking devices. How are you going to power it up? So, and you know, one thing with computing devices is that they generate heat, right? So they generate a lot of heat. So you're buying like 20 servers, you're buying like 20 networking devices, and you are storing everything in one room. How do you cool it? So the more heat they generate, the more the probability of them getting damaged. So you have to consider cooling as well. So another thing, you know, buy 20 servers, 20 networking devices, then you close the door and lock it with a key and think your infrastructure devices are safe. No, you know what's going to happen. Someone is going to come in and someone is going to borrow one server. Two people are going to come in, they are going to borrow two networking devices. So that on its own, you're already losing infrastructure and you've not even started your business. So that's another thing to consider. Another thing to consider is, fine, you have all these things. Okay, it's secured. And you've started your business and you've started computing, you started processing data, and you've started generating information. So what do you do when 10 servers crash? What do you do about that? That's another thing to consider. So that's where backup and disaster recovery comes in. Another thing is maintenance. Fine, you don't. We all know with computing devices, you don't just buy them. The day you buy it, that's not the way it's going to be in the next 2 months. You know, a lot of things would have entered it. So maintenance is another thing. You have to constantly maintain the devices you get. So thinking about all these things, as a Nigerian economy, you know how much investment has been put into this. So this is one of the major reasons why I believe you need cloud, because with cloud, all of these things are taken care of. So another thing is that with on-premise installation, they notice that most of the time the computing you do on that, you always utilize 30 to 40% of those resources. Can you imagine? You buy 20 servers and it's not every day you're going to have computing um computing activities to do. It's not every month, it's not every year, because these things are not static, they're dynamic, they keep changing. So it was observed that most of the people with on-premise devices, they tend to use 30 to 40% of what they spent almost millions paying for. So that's another reason why the innovation of cloud came about. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about some characteristics of cloud computing. So basically, when you have cloud, what are the things that you can find? So the first thing I'm going to start with is resource pooling. So resource pooling is a characteristic of the cloud because basically what it means is that those computing devices, those servers that you use, basically, how do you get them? You get them through something called the multi-tenant model. So when I say multi-tenant, let's say you have a building, and in that building you have one tenant living upstairs, you have another tenant living on the second floor and the third floor. So basically that's what the multi-tenant model looks like. So has a server farm, right? And in that server farm, your computing resources that you request for or demand for are assigned to you from that multi-tenant model. So basically, that's what the resource pooling characteristic entails. Second, you have on-demand self-service. So basically, what that means is, as you ask for it, it is given to you. Seek and you shall find. So the next one is easy maintenance. Like I said, when you use cloud, you don't have to think about, okay, I need to update 20 servers today. No, your cloud server provider does that for you. When you have damaged connection ports on your servers, your cloud server service provider does that for you. Another characteristic is easy access. Basically, what that means is anywhere you go, basically MTN, anywhere you go, you can access your computing resources wherever you are, as long as you have an internet connection and a computing device, whether your phone or your laptop, you can access cloud resources. So another thing is availability. Basically, availability is with cloud, you rarely have periods where you don't have access to these resources. So another thing is, if you have three users, you have a website and you have three users going to your website on cloud, and next week you have 20 users, your computing resource is going to be scaled up for you and is going to be available to you. So you don't need to worry about thinking of, okay, 20 people came to our site crashed. Now we have to buy a new server. Now we have to do this all from the beginning and set up our computing resources for 20 users. My question is, what are you going to do when 30 users come in to your website? So you are repeating that cycle from the beginning, and you tend not to be always available. So people will know you for, okay, that site that always crashes when five more people joins the site. So another thing is you have an automatic system. Basically, with computing resources and infrastructure, we know that everything is automated. So you can automate a lot of things. So basically, that's what that entails. Another thing is it's economical. The cloud is very economical. So like I said, pay as you go, pay as you use. So it's very economical. Another thing is there's security. Trust me, those server farms where your resources come from are highly protected. They have very high level of security. You can Google search server farms and see what they look like anyways. So another thing is pay as you go. Pay as you go is a main characteristic of the cloud. Pay as you go and measured services. Basically, in cloud computing, users only pay for the service or space they've utilized. So there's no hidden or extra charge, which they don't scam you. There's no charge that, okay, oh, I'm using this, then they come and bill you for something that you didn't use. No, they don't have things like that. They have policies in place for things like that. So measured service, basically your computing resources are monitored and they are recorded. So you you are analyzed by supporting charge pay as you use capability, so to say. So you are monitored, what you use is measured, and then you are billed for that. Okay, so I was explaining this, I talked about resource pooling. And if you look to my screen, you can see a diagram of a guy with his laptop, right? So he has internet, he has a computing device, and he goes to Amazon, their cloud platform, right? And he requests for, he needs a processing device, so a CPU, he needs a networking device, and he needs storage for whatever computing operation is performing. So basically, whatever data is going to process and whatever information is going to receive. So all from his device, he can pull each aspect of his need from AWS, their general resource pool, and make up his own personalized data center. So basically, that's what the resource pooling is. And like I said, it's location independent. It doesn't matter where you are in the world, doesn't matter your country or street or state, you can always get access to these resources. Another thing I should tell you is these server farms here, where these resources are kept or stored, right? They can be in various locations in the world. And another thing you need to know is the closer a resource pool is to your location, to your physical location, the better your computing speed and the, the fact that you won't have latency. Basically, you won't have delay in your computing activities when you're performing your computing activities, so to say. All right, so let's quickly look at some of the benefits of cloud. So what are some of the benefits of cloud? The first one is cost, because I know that's very important to us these days. So cloud eliminates a lot of costs. Like I said earlier, the cost to house these computing devices, maintain them, to do backup, to cool them, to what's it called? The various administrative and operational costs are eliminated by using cloud. But you still have to spend money anyways, but it has been minimized to a certain extent. Another thing is it's very fast. You can set up your own data center in less than 30 minutes. So you can get access to computing resources in less than 10 minutes. So it's very fast and agile. So everything is smooth and you rarely have interruptions in getting access to your computing resource. Another thing is the global scale. Like I said, you can find computing resources in various regions in the world. So it is not just restricted to the United States. There are different places where server farms are, and you can get computing resources from there. Another thing is it makes you very productive. So as a developer, as a content creator, as a data scientist, basically you tend to focus on the core value that field of yours tends to provide to the world. So you don't have to be thinking of your servers being bad or your computing resources not giving you the right value to be productive, so to say. Another thing is centralized data. Basically, your whatever you data you store in cloud is in a particular location for you. So they might be in different remote places, right? But when you go to the cloud provider, you can access them from a centralized place. So another thing is performance. I think that's self-explanatory on its own. The cloud is also very reliable because with all these advantages, trust me, the cloud is very reliable. Another thing is security. So what the service providers they do for us is they give us various auditing, authentication, and encryption mechanisms. Basically, how do you gain access to this platform? So fine, the data you use on this platform, you have the ability to encrypt them. So basically, you have to decrypt it to see what data is in it. That's what that means. Another thing is auditing. Basically, you are monitoring. You know who is entering your cloud platform. You know who is leaving. You know who is doing what. You know who is doing what at when. That's what particular time. So basically, you have a very high level of security. And the last one is monitoring. I think monitoring falls on that security, anyways. So, like I said, with every good thing, we also have the side effects of these things. So, one of the first limitations of cloud. So, now we're on limitations of cloud. We've looked at the benefits of cloud. One of the limitations of cloud is it's hard for you to start with a certain service provider, then move to another service provider. So, basically, what I mean is if you start with Amazon, right? It might give you some technical issue when you're trying to move all your business operations to a new service provider, let's say Azure, because services on both platforms might look the same, but they tend to vary once in a while. So another thing is security and compliance. Basically, what we're talking about is fine, you might use the cloud and you might set up infrastructure for your business needs. So, whatever computing resource your business needs. But depending on your business operation, you might actually be violating some compliance policies. So, there are a lot of ISO policies online that have to do with various things. So, health, finance, those compliance policies are very important because once you are violating any of them, there are serious repercussions to that. So you need to do a lot of research as well. Another thing is end user support is very limited. So when I say end user, I'm talking about the layman that doesn't know technical things but wants to use the cloud. So that might be a serious constraint for you because there might be some aspect of cloud where you actually need technical expertise. Another thing is limited customization. So basically, you don't know what type of servers they are using there. Maybe you have a preference for Dell servers. Amazon might be using HP servers, but you would never know because it's the cloud, right? So another thing is limited backend control of infrastructure. So basically, those servers, the backend aspect of it, the patches, the maintenance, you might not know what goes into that aspect of cloud. So another thing is limited control over management policy. Fine, you actually have responsibilities and you have some degree of authority in cloud, but your service provider is the ultimate authority in cloud. So they are the ones that can moderate anything you use or deploy in cloud. So, for example, if you deploy a server and on that server you have an hacker that keeps going into your server to perform malicious activities, the cloud service provider has the authority to shut down your infrastructure if that issue is not addressed. So another thing is inaccessibility to your infrastructure. So basically, no internet, no cloud. That's what that means. All right, guys. I know I've talked about a lot of things. So now I'll be inviting my next speaker, that's Salaudin Abdurazak, to come and talk of some other aspects of cloud computing. All right. So
Thank you
thank
very
you.
much. Thank you very much, Joshua. That was very, very informative. Good afternoon, everyone. I believe everyone can hear me? Kindly indicate in the chat section that you can hear me.
We can hear you, Abdurazak.
All right, thank you very much. Joshua, kindly allow me to share my screen now. All right. Please kindly confirm that you can see my screen. Joshua, can you see my screen?
We can see your screen.
All right. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Salahuddin Abdurazak. I am part of the DevOps team for Bincom Dev Center, and I will be taking up from where Joshua left. I'm going to be talking on deployment models of the cloud. So basically, there are three deployment models for cloud computing, and we have the public cloud, the private cloud, and we also have the hybrid cloud. So as you can see at the right side, and under the private cloud, we can also have the on-premise cloud or the externally hosted cloud. So if a cloud is private, you can decide to have it in your premise or hosted somewhere else, maybe a bit distant from you. So now private cloud. So as you can see, private cloud is provisioned for exclusive use by a single organization. So what this is basically telling us is an organization might decide to host their own cloud, and then it is used by them only. From the word private, it is owned by them, it is managed by them. It could be managed by a third party, but they have sole authority to the cloud. They can decide to customize it to suit their business purposes. And like I said, they have authority over it. So the next thing is the public cloud. And the cloud infrastructure is provisioned for open use by the general public. It may be owned, managed, and operated by a business, academic, or government organizations, or some combination of them. So from the name public cloud, that means it is open to the public. People from the public can access it, they can make use of the cloud, and then it can be owned by maybe a business, an academic or government organization, and then so the people hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, can you still see my screen?
No?
How about now?
Yeah, I can see.
All right.
You can see your screen.
Okay, so I was talking about the public cloud, and I said that the cloud is provisioned for open use by the general public. So basically, people of the public can use this type of cloud. And then here, in this type of cloud, the cloud provider have sole authority, and then they can make policies. And the companies or the consumers renting this cloud have little power over it. So, and one of the advantage of this type of cloud is that it reduces time as compared to the private cloud where you have to set everything up yourself because it is owned by you, privately by you. But in this type of cloud, it is owned by a cloud provider, and then it reduces your time. You don't have to set up the whole infrastructure. So another thing is it is cost effective. You know, when you consider the initial investment to set up a private cloud, it could cost a fortune. So instead of that, you can seek this service from a public cloud provider, and it's going to save you a whole lot of initial cost in setting up your own cloud. So finally, it gives flexibility in terms of scalability. So when you need to scale up, maybe you're doing a particular computing activity, and then you need to scale up, you need to increase your computing activity for one reason or the other. It is easy for you to expand and increase your access. So one of the disadvantages of this type of cloud is that there is higher security risk, because as compared to the private cloud where you manage everything yourself, you can oversee everything going on. But then this, you're trusting a cloud provider. You're taking their words for it that your data will be safe, and then they are not going to maybe interrupt your data or try to utilize it for some other purpose. So one of the disadvantages of this type of cloud is the security risk. So I'll move next to the hybrid cloud. And then in this type of cloud, according to what I have on this screen, it's a solution that combines the private cloud with one or more public services, with the proprietary software or proprietary technology that enables data and application portability. So what this is trying to tell us is that it combines the advantage of a private cloud and then that of a public cloud and merge it into one, so that you can have more relevant resources into respective deployment function to suit your own business needs. So like one of the advantages of this is balance of pricing. Like the balance of pricing is very, very good. And then it has reasonable flexibility and also security as well. Like I said, it's combining the advantage of the private cloud and the public cloud. And one of the advantages of the private cloud is that it is flexible in terms of customization. You own it yourself, so you can customize it to suit your own business need. So the hybrid cloud is combining these two advantages. That's in terms of flexibility in customization and flexibility in scalability, combines it into one. And then finally, you have good privacy at a multi-organizational level. So as compared to the public cloud, so this is taking the advantage of the private cloud, which is the privacy. So you can have privacy at a multi-organization level, which is way better than that of the public cloud. So there is something also called the community cloud. Although in so many documentation, you will see this being ignored. But then this type of cloud is it's a cloud infrastructure. It's a service model whereby the cloud infrastructure is provisioned for exclusive use by a specific community of consumers. So it's basically similar to a private cloud, but then it is similar to a private cloud, but you have resources dedicated to one. In a private cloud, we have resources dedicated to one user. But here, you can have more than one user. I mean, when I say user, I mean more than one business or more than one company under the cloud. So it could be because they have some business relationship, and then they have to set up this type of cloud so as to enable the collaboration. So the point to note here is that the resources are shared within these companies working for a common goal. So they have a common goal, then they have to come together to create this community cloud. So then, so in order to achieve this goal, that is why they set up this kind of cloud. So if multiple organizations, if they wish to work on a common project, so they can do it under the umbrella of a community cloud. And in terms of pricing, all the resources are shared between the organizations. So they know how to split the pricing between themselves. So, and this type of cloud infrastructure has the advantage of good security because it is similar to a private cloud. And when you talk about the strength of a private cloud, you definitely talk about security. And the disadvantage of this type of cloud would be the fact that it is actually costlier than a public cloud. It is more expensive. And like I said before, the private cloud can be way more expensive as compared to the public cloud. And I would like to call on Joshua. I believe you have an analogy to make this a bit easier for people that are not in tech and does not even know anything about this cloud at all. Maybe you can use one thing we see in our daily life to explain this so as for them to get it better. Can you hear me, Joshua?
Yes, I can.
Please
So,
do.
all right. Before I go on, I need someone from the audience to signify that they can hear me.
Hi, we can hear you.
All right, thank you very much. So, fine. My my friend said there are three types of cloud, right? So you have the private, you have the public, and you have the community cloud. Okay, these concepts might sound a bit weird, right? But I'll give us an example. So a real life example. So this is my scenario. You want to travel, right? And you have three options. So first, you have a bus, right? Then you have your own private car and you have a rental car. So a rental car is whether Bolt or Uber, right? So let's look at the bus. The bus is a public transport, yeah? And we know how the public transport works. So it is available. So everyone can share it. You have to share it with others. It is cheaper. It will get you to where you want to go. It is cheaper and you only pay for the distance you want to travel. So that's how the bus works. So the second option is your private car. Yeah, your private car is one thing you know about your private car is it is very um flexible. So you can drive it at any time you want. It is your private car. You can go wake up in the middle of the night and start your car and drive off to somewhere. So there's privacy, it is flexible. The public, the people of the public, so people walking on the road, commuters don't have the option of just opening your door and sitting in your private car. That doesn't work. It doesn't work like that. But one thing you need to know is that with your private car, you need to pay a lot of money to buy that car. So it is not, if you save up 1 year of public transport, it might not cost you as much as buying your own private what's it called, Range Rover. So that's that. Then the last option is our car, right? So let's talk about Uber. So you know that for you to have privacy in Uber, you pay a higher price than your normal public transport. But you don't own the Uber car, right? It is not your car. It belongs to someone else. Features you get from your own private car, but the car belongs to someone else. With my analogy, is anyone willing to try? Okay, no responses at the moment. All right, so because of time, basically what I'm saying is the boss is your public cloud because you need the public cloud and you share it with people and it is cheaper. So the private car is your private cloud. It's yours alone. It's dedicated to you. You have privacy on what goes on in that cloud. And lastly, the hybrid cloud is your Uber or your rental car where you
Hello, I believe we lost Joshua. Um, and I'll just have to continue from where I stopped. That was a very good analogy over there, talking about the private car, the rental car, and the public public car, where the private car is owned by you, you pay, get it. You need initial investment to get a car. You need to get a driver's license. You need to fuel your car and all other things. So you can compare that to a private cloud. So, and for the public bus, where you don't have to pay.
Okay, I guess it's the network. Let's just try some. Okay. Let's hold on for a while. I think they are having issues with their network.
All right, can anyone hear me? Hello. All right. I was trying to emphasize on the analogy Joshua gave us about the private, public, and hybrid cloud, comparing the private car to private cloud, the public cloud to the public buses, and then the hybrid cloud. You can compare that to your Uber, your Taxify, and then your Bolt, where you don't own the car, but you hire it temporarily, and then it's like you own the car, but then you don't. And then you realize that you pay more for Uber as compared to your public bus. So that was a very, very good analogy. So I'll be moving next to the cloud computing service model. What we talked about initially was the implementation model. So now this is the service model. So for the service model, we have three service models in cloud computing. We have the platform as a service, we have the software as a service, and we have the infrastructure as a service. So I think I would like to take it from the simpler one, which is that of the infrastructure as a service. Okay, firstly, let's just look at this diagram. I think this is a very good diagram. We have the platform as a service, and then it's at the bottom of the pyramid, and it is the simplest of the service model in cloud computing. And we have that's the infrastructure as a service, the simplest. And next, we have the platform as a service, which is the next, and we have the software as a service. So for the platform as a service, you see the infrastructure and network architecture, this is under platform. And when you talk about application development, application developers use the platform as a service, and the end users use the software as a service. So let me dive in deep into all these services so that we can get a clear picture of them. Firstly, the infrastructure as a service, IaaS. So this means that taking the physical hardware and providing virtual service. So the cloud provider will provide you with the physical hardware needed to do your computing activities, and also the virtual services you need. And there are businesses that actually, they give you the network, the server, the storage from the cloud, and then this infrastructure is maintained from the back end. So the user then is responsible in handling other resources such as application, data, runtime, and middleware. So if I go back to the diagram I showed you, so they provide you with the server, storage, and the network. So then you are responsible for the operating system, the application stack, and the server storage network. And you're also responsible for the software, the OS, the application stack, and all. So to have your computing activities work for you. So, and the next one is the platform as a service. So in this platform as a service, This is a service that's made up of programming language, execution environment, an operating system, a web server, and a database. So basically, the cloud provider provides you with the database, the web server, and the development tools. And then the user is then responsible for the rest. So the cloud provider don't get to worry about the the application and all. So they provide you with the platform, they provide you with the operating system, the web server, and the database, and then the rest is actually your headache. So, like I said, to recap, it's PaaS stands for Platform as a Service, and the provider delivers the hardware, the software, and the software tools, yes. And then the rest, which is the application, is the headache of the user. So, but the benefit of the basic benefits, those who are who use this, the basic benefit is you get the rest. You don't have to worry about the infrastructure. You don't have to worry about the storage and all. Everything is provided for you. So you just have to move on to your application, develop your application, and the rest is managed by the cloud provider. So, and then finally, the software as a service. The software as a service, SaaS. So this is a deployment model. This is a service model where the cloud provider provides software with the help of internet. So in this case, a very good example is your Gmail. It's your Microsoft 365, and then your Call of Duty. That's the game you play online, and the rest of the applications you have online, the Google Docs, your Gmail, your Google Drive, your Microsoft 365, whereby these softwares are provided online. You don't have to install them on your computer. So for instance, you don't have to install Gmail on your computer to access Gmail or to make use of Gmail. And then the Google Doc as well. You don't have to have Excel on your computer. You don't need to have Microsoft Word on your computer to use the Google Doc. Everything is installed on the cloud and it's provided for you, so you can make use of it without having it on your physical computer. So that is software as a service. And then there is Joshua. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go on, Abdrazak.
All right. In order to understand this better, there is a washing machine analogy, and then I would like Joshua to explain that for us. Joshua, can you do that for us, please?
Yeah, sorry about the last analogy. I don't know. I think my network kicked me out of the call. So, yeah,
Right.
so basically, for your cloud computing service models, you can understand them if you consider a laundromat. So, basically, where you go to wash your clothes. So, there are three service models, right? The first one gives you the capability of coming and meeting. Okay, you need soap, you need your washing machines, you need pegs to hang or spread your clothes. So that is a complete package. So basically, that's the software as a service. Everything is provided for you. All you have to do is come and use it. So then you have platform as a service. So basically, they might provide you with, what do you call it? They provide you with the washing machines, right? And they provide you with, let's say, detergent, but you have to bring your own clothes and your own pegs so that when you wash, you can spread your clothes. And lastly, the infrastructure as a service. So here, they don't provide you with detergents, they don't provide you with pegs, they just show you the washing machine and they're like, that's the washing machine there. Do everything you have to do to get your clothes clean. So basically, that's my analogy for the three cloud service models. So I believe
All right.
everyone
Thank you
should be
very.
able to do that. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Joshua. That's another very good analogy. The washing machine model, definitely, and I believe we all got what he said, and whereby you can have your clothes and then you have the washing machine, and then you go there. The only thing you get supplied with is the washing machine. You go, you put your clothes in the washing machine. You have to supply the detergent yourself. You have to supply every other thing you need. You have to make sure you have water in your tank to wash your clothes. That can be compared to the infrastructure as a service. So they provide you with the basic things you need, and then you're responsible for the rest to perform your operation. And like you said again, the platform as a service can be compared. Okay, it can be compared to well, if you're going to a laundromat where you have, if there's this you have this people they offer you, they have washing machine available, they provide you with soap, the detergent you need to wash, water and everything. And then when you get there, all you need to do is just, they have multiple washing machines. When you get there, all you need to just put your clothes in, the soap is ready, everything is ready, wash your clothes, spread, and do the rest. So, and finally, the software as a service, that can also be compared to going to a laundryman and giving him, okay, a dry cleaner, wash my clothes for me. So they practically wash it in the washing machine. They provide the detergent, they do everything. They even go as far as ironing it for you. And when they bring it back, bring your clothes cleaned and ironed. So that is software as a service for you, whereby everything has been provided. All you need to do is just proceed with your computing activity. So I'll move on to the next. Okay, this is a slide showing the cloud service model from a responsibility perspective. The initial slide was showing it from the end user's perspective, where we said that the sysadmin make use of the infrastructure as a service, the application developers, they make use of the platform as a service, and then the end users make use of the system as a service. So, and this from a responsibility perspective, you can see the infrastructure as a service, it said managed by the vendor. The vendor provides you with networking, with storage, with server, and with virtualization. So the rest is managed by you. You manage the OS, you manage the middleware, the runtime, applications, and the data. And for the platform as a service, you can see the vendor manages the networking, the storage, the server, the virtualization, the OS, middleware, the runtime, and then you are left with just the application and the data to manage. So, and finally, for the software as a service, you provide basically everything, and all you have to manage is just the data. So, and then we have something called the serverless computing. Serverless computing is an execution model for cloud, in which a cloud provider dynamically allocates and then charges the user for only compute resources and storage needed to execute a particular piece of code. So to explain this better, I can use one of the Amazon service called the Amazon Lambda. And then, for instance, if you're a developer, you're an application developer, and then while developing your application and you want to put it to the test, or you want to just put it out there for people to use, you're coding, you're worrying about developing the app, and at the same time, you have to worry about the storage, because definitely if you're developing the app will generate data, and then you talk about maybe pictures, maybe if users need to upload pictures, maybe if they need to make use of their location as well, and so many other data like that. And it has to be stored somewhere. It has to be processed by something like real-time data, because those data will give you insights of the next thing to do. So if you're worrying about writing the code to develop your app and maintenance and everything, do you have to worry about the storage and managing real-time data and things like that? So that is where the serverless computing comes in. So you really don't, as an application developer, you don't need to worry about the storage. You don't need to worry about processing and analyzing real-time data. All you need to worry about is just write your code, develop your application, and then your cloud provider will take care of that for you. And then they can also always give you log of everything happening, so as to at least give you that insight that you still need to know what next step to take in developing your application. So that is basically what serverless computing is. And then we have the big guys in the cloud computing, community. I'm sure we are familiar with the AWS, that's the Amazon Web Service, and then the Google Cloud, Microsoft Azure, the VMware, Salesforce. This particular Salesforce, they are one of the big guys, like old guys in cloud computing, the Oracle Cloud, Red Hat, SAP, IBM Cloud, and then the server space. The next thing I'll be talking about is the use of cloud computing. So you can use cloud computing to create cloud native applications. You can use it to store, backup, and recover data. Very good example that we're familiar with is the Google Drive, the Dropbox, or the Amazon S3 bucket. So you can use that to save your files, stream audio and video, definitely. So you're talking about maybe your Netflix. Your Netflix is a very, very huge video bank, and they use Amazon Web Service as well for their storage. So deliver software on demand. Definitely, I gave an instance of the Microsoft 365. You can use it to test and build applications. You can use it to analyze data, embed intelligence, disaster recovery, definitely. Where this you're talking about the cross replication in AWS, where you save your data in one S3 bucket, where you save your objects in the cloud for Amazon Web Service is what we call the S3 bucket. It is called buckets. So just like the way Microsoft called it as OneDrive, so in Amazon they call it S3 bucket. So you store your data in one S3 bucket and you cross-replicate it to another S3 bucket in another region entirely. So even if you lose your file in that region, you are well assured that it is replicated in another region and you can always have access to your data. And we're talking about availability. So that's what the disaster recovery basically is. And you can also use cloud computing for managed services, collaboration apps like G Suite, data analytics, like the Google BigQuery, and even machine learning. Yeah, the Google Cloud Machine Learning Engine is an example. And I can also use it for data archiving. And for data archiving, there's a particular Amazon Web Service that is called the Amazon what's this called again? The Amazon Vault, where you can archive your data. And then if you don't, for instance, a very good instance where you can use this, the Amazon Glacier, Amazon Glacier, and you have Amazon Glacier Deep Archive. And a very good instance of where this can be used is the hospital, where you have data about patients that is not being used every time. So why do you want to keep that kind of data where it can be easily accessed? So it has to be archived and kept somewhere. So even if you have to recover those files, it will require a little bit of time to get those files back. So that is what data archiving simply means. And now I believe that to a very large extent, we've been able to introduce you to what cloud computing basically is. I'm just going to do a very brief recap from where I started from. I talked about the deployment model, where I talked about the private, the public, and the hybrid cloud. And thanks to Joshua for giving us that, the private car, the bus, and the Uber analogy. And then I talked about the community cloud as well, where I said if we have multiple organizations that's working to achieve a common goal, they can set up a community cloud and they both access the cloud. I also talked about the service model for cloud computing, where I talked about the infrastructure as a service, the platform as a service, and the software as a service. And I said the software as a service, the infrastructure as a service, I beg your pardon, is the simplest of them all. And it is used by sysadmins, where you are provided with the server storage and the network, and then you take care of the rest. And then the platform as a service is used by the application developers, where you're provided with the OS, the application stack, the server storage, and the network, and then you take care of the rest. And finally, the software as a service, which I gave an instance of the Microsoft 365 and the Google Docs and Gmail, is used by the end user. We all use Gmail, we all use Google Doc, and we all know what Microsoft 365 is. So I also shared another slide showing the cloud service model from the responsibility perspective. That's the one you manage and the one the vendor manages for you. So I talked about the infrastructure, the platform, and the software as a service as well, looking from that perspective. Then I talked about the serverless computing, where I said if you're trying to develop an application, while developing an application, do you still have to worry about the storage, the database, and all of those things? So, and then I said that the service provider can manage all that for you and still give you a log of what is happening. So you can have a close insight of the data, the real-time data, but then you don't have to worry about that because it is managed by the cloud provider. That's why it is called serverless computing. So, and then I made mention of some big guys in the cloud computing community, the AWS, the Google Cloud, and the rest, and Microsoft Azure, and the rest of that. And I also talked about the use of cloud computing, and yeah. So I believe that was informative for us. And so the next thing to do now is to do a demo. So we've been talking theory all this while. So we have to show you all these things we've been talking about. We've talked about how you can deploy your cloud. You can do cloud computing in a minute. You can set it up almost immediately. You can request for it on demand, and you get it. We talked about the self-service where you don't have to where the service provider, that's the cloud service provider, does not have to interfere with you. You can demand for it and you get it immediately. So this demo is where we show you all those things, so you can have at least an idea, a picture in your head of all these things we'll be talking about. So I would like Joshua to go first. I think he will be taking us through the Google Cloud Platform or maybe the Microsoft Azure. I think he will decide that, and I'll be going with the AWS. So Joshua, would you like to go first?
All right, thank you, Abdulrazak. Can we all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. I'm going to be sharing my screen, and I'm going to be really, really fast. So can we all see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
All right. So I need a response from someone from the audience or from my guest speaker. Can anybody else see my screen? All right, thank you. So one thing the cloud providers have done for us is they've given us the opportunity to actually learn how to use cloud without actually paying for it. They give you a free tier account for a year. So I'm just going to be showing us how to set up free tier accounts. So how can I get free cloud? This is free, guys. So I know everybody likes free things anyways. So how can you get free cloud on AWS? How can you get free cloud on GCP, so Google? And how can you get free cloud on what's it called? On Microsoft Azure. So I'm going to start with Microsoft Azure. Okay, guys. So I believe you can see my screen. So the first thing you need to go to is you need to go to azure.microsoft.com. So basically, you're going to get access to Amazon's Microsoft's cloud platform for a year, and they're also going to give you $200 worth of credit, so you can do things that are not in the free tier services. You can do things that cost up to $200 for a year. So this is how you set up your free tier account on Azure. So, and I think I would be putting the links in the chat section just in case you need it. So create your Azure free account today. Get started with 12 months of free services. So start free. And basically for Azure, for GCP, for IBM, for most of these cloud platforms, basically what you need, all right, sorry. Basically what you need is to have an account with Microsoft, first of all, or to create an account on AWS, or to create an account on Google. Once you create this account, you're given, let me switch to incognito. You're given 12 months free computing resources. And basically, for you to complete your registration on these cloud platforms, you need a you need an ATM card, so a debit or a credit card, so to say. So the credit card is what gives you access to this platform, because your credit card information will be verified by whether Microsoft or Google or AWS. And once it's verified, they are going to verify that credit card, they are going to debit you, I think, 400 Naira. So once that credit card is verified, they transfer your money back into your account. So it's costing you nothing to set up these cloud platforms. So you can go ahead and sign up on Microsoft Azure, then GCP as well. You can sign up on GCP. So I believe you can see my screen anyways. So this is the portal to sign up for Google Cloud. So get started for free. This is just as easy as signing up for your, what's it called, for your social media accounts. So I think yep. So all you need to do is go to their official websites, look for the sign up free button, click on it, then go through the sign up process. You put your name, address, and you look for a valid credit card to authorize your account. Once your account has been authorized, you'll be logged into your dashboard. So I've already gone through that process. So I would like to go to my dashboard here. So this is what AWS free tier account sign up page looks like. You go to the official site, you click the create free account or the sign up free button. Like I said, they are all similar in nature, so you have nothing to worry about. Can you all see my screen?
Joshua, I think okay. We can see now. We can see it now.
Can
It
you see
was
my screen?
we can see it now. It was frozen for a while.
Okay, so where did I get cut off, please? What was the last thing I said?
You can just proceed. You can proceed from here.
Okay, so after signing up on Microsoft Azure, you'll be logged in directly, and this is, you can take a tour. So it is most of these cloud platforms are very user friendly. They've put a lot of effort into making the user experience and the user interface very user friendly. So you can take a tour, or you can decide to take the tour later. So basically, this is what Microsoft Azure cloud platform looks like. This is the home page. So if you click the drop down menu here, you can see your dashboard. You can view all the services down Microsoft Azure. So you can look at things like your resource groups, your SQL database, your virtual machines. So virtual machines are where you find your servers, your virtual servers. You can monitor your resources. You can use the security center to manage security access to your cloud
Just
computing resources. Hello?
very quickly. Sorry, I think your screen is frozen again. It stopped at that part where you picked an account for for the Microsoft Azure before logging in. That part where you picked an account. That is all we can see. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. If I think maybe everybody on the call should kindly confirm on the chat section if they can see your screen, so we'll know if we can proceed. Please, can anybody see his screen? Like,
I think my Zoom is frozen as well. Okay.
Tolani said we missed it from the signing up process.
The signing up process. I think you should take GCP. Let me log in and out of Zoom again. Sorry, AWS.
All right. And I'll just
Yeah.
proceed with AWS.
Yeah.
And, okay. I'll be sharing my screen now. Please, can you all see my screen? Can anyone see my screen? Hello?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can see.
All right. To use the Amazon Web Service, you just need to log into, to enter the address aws.amazon, as you can see, .amazon.com. And once you click that, it's going to bring up a page like this. So you can see sign into console at the top right corner. Okay, so if you want to create a new account, you just come to the bottom and click on create new AWS account. So once you click on that, then it brings this page. Actually, before this page, you get a screen where it's going to ask you to put in your name, your address, and everything, and every other information before it asks you for billing information. It was because I tried it initially before the Zoom call. That was why I have this screen. So it's actually telling me to continue from where I stopped. But let me see if I can use another browser if it's not going to give me the same. So I can show you from the beginning. So like I said, aws.amazon.com. Once you enter, it's going to open a page like this. Can everybody hear me? Hello? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, with you, but you have to pick up a bit, though.
I didn't get that.
Since some persons
All right.
can see, so you have to speak up a bit.
I can't hear you. Maybe you should just drop your comment in the chat section. So I will just take it that you guys can hear me. But if you can't, just kindly let me know in the chat section. So you have to just create a new account into creating a new social media account, and it's very, very easy. So because I already have an account, I won't be creating a new account. So for Amazon Web Service as well, you're entitled to a 1-year free trial account, a 1-year free trial account. Kindly hold on, I need to let some people in. Okay, Joshua is trying to come in. All right, so you have access to 1-year free trial account where you can do some specific computing services for free for a whole year and you won't be charged. So not all the services, but some of them, and then you won't be charged. So let's just assume you signed up, then you're trying to log in. So if you sign up, you're going to be signing up as a root user. So then after signing into the account, you can create an IAM user. An IAM is Identity Access Management. So this is just one of the AWS features that is used to manage user accounts. So basically you can create something like a master account, like the root user, and then you can create other accounts within the root account. So that means if you have an organization and then you have a cloud account, so the root account probably belong to maybe the, let's say like the admin, the CEO of the company. So you can use the root account for payment of your services, for billing and all that. And then you use the IAM user account. You can give that access to maybe your sysadmin, your DevOps engineers, and maybe your sales team, when they need to log into the S3 bucket to save some files and retrieve some files and all that. So I'll be logging in as the root user, and then I have to enter my email address, which has been auto-filled for me, and then you click on next. So as a means of security, it's going to ask me to enter my password, and also a multi-factor authentication has been set up on this account, whereby if I'm trying to log in, it's going to require me to authenticate that an authenticator on my phone, which has been configured earlier when I registered. Very easy to do. All those steps, things that I've done before. So while creating your account, it's going to ask you if you wish, you can set up a multi-factor authentication, just like you do on so many other social media platforms, like on your Gmail, where a code will be sent to your phone and you'll be asked to enter that code to grant you access to a particular service online. Can anyone hear me, please? Or am I talking to myself?
No, I can hear you.
All right, thank you very much. So I'm trying to log into my AWS account now. Okay, so this is basically what the new account looks like. Okay, let's just play with this. Let's say my email address is okikiola@gmail.com, and then I put a particular password. Even though it's saying it's not strong enough, let's try to use something stronger. Okay, and then repeat the password, and then your account name, I can call it let's say training, and then you click on continue. Okay, so that's just what it looks like. I think it's not allowing me in because I already have an account, and it has been saved in this browser. So there's no need creating an account. I was just doing that just to show you what that interface looks like. So I'll just proceed with logging in with my own.
Razak, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. So I'm back. I think to show our viewers how to sign up on one of these cloud platforms, I'll use Microsoft, the Azure account. Yeah. So let me share my screen. So I need you to confirm if my screen is frozen while I register as a new user. Can you do that for me?
Oh, I'll do that.
All right.
All right.
Sorry for the inconvenience, guys. So just take. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can't see your screen.
You can't see my screen.
We can. I can see your screen. I believe others can too.
All right. So what's on my screen, please? So I know we're on the same page.
I can see step 1 of 2. I can see your
All
name
right.
and your email.
Okay. So after clicking the sign up button on the Google Cloud website, right? This is where you get redirected to. So this is the first step to signing up or setting up a Google Cloud platform. So I'm just going to switch my tab to Microsoft. So after clicking the sign up button for Microsoft Azure, can you see my screen now? Is it on Microsoft Azure?
Yes.
So after clicking the sign up button, you're redirected here where you can sign up or create your profile for the Azure free tier account. So in things like your region, your country, so you put your first name, you put your last name. I hope my screen is not frozen, please.
No, it's not. I can see your screen.
You put an email address, valid email address, and you put your phone number. Then you click the next button, right? So the next thing is an identity verification. So Microsoft is going to send you a code to your phone number. You're going to click the text me button, and if you want to hear Microsoft, you can tell them to call you. So a verification has been sent to my mobile device. So I'm going to put in my verification code. Hope my screen is not frozen.
No, it's not. It's not.
All right, so I click verify. Can you see, if you look to the right, you see no automatic charges. After your credit, will ask you if you want to continue to pay as you go. So if you do, you only pay for what you use. So basically, that is Amazon telling you they won't charge you except for things that you use on their, Microsoft rather, except for the things you use on their platform. Okay, so I think that's taking a bit of a time, and I'll go to Google Cloud. Can you see my screen? Is it on Google?
Yes, Joshua, it's on Google.
All right, so this is the first to sign up on Google. So automatically it picks the email address, the Google mail address you are currently signed in on your web browser. Next, you can switch. You can decide to put in any of the Gmail accounts you want to use for your platform. You select your country, you agree to their terms, and you click continue. Then it takes you to the next step, which is step 2, right? So let's wait for that to load up as well. So next thing is, what account type are you setting, business or individual? So there are two different ways. You either set up as a business or as an individual. So you need to put your name, your address, your city, your postal code, your state. Your phone number is optional anyways. Then you need your credit card details. Remember guys, if you don't put a valid credit card detail, you won't be able to get access to platforms, excuse me, because you need to be authorized. So let's go back to Microsoft Azure. Can you see my screen? Is it on Microsoft?
Yes, it's on Microsoft. I can see your screen.
All right. So another thing is you need a valid credit card as well. You can see that both Microsoft and Google and AWS and IBM, they all have the same sign up or registration process, right? All right. So you need to put your card name, you need a card number. Sorry, just give me a moment. You need a card number. Hope my screen is not frozen.
No, it's not.
Sorry, I don't know why that happened. So you need to type this without space for currently. All right. So can you see it automatically authenticates with the card information you put? So next, you select your card expiry date. Select this, your address, and you click next. Once you click next, you are going to be redirected to your login page.
So first of all, your card details be verified. Remember I told you, so you get debited 400 naira just to verify that that card works. Then once you're on your login page, your 400 naira is reverted into your account. Hope you can hear me, guys.
Yes, yes.
Right. So basically, once you complete this registration process, you you get redirected to your what's it called, your home page. So same thing for Google, but I think on Google you might have to upload an image of your credit card as well. So there are ways on how you can do that. They'll give you instructions on how to upload the image the right way. So all you need to do is follow those steps and you'll be good to go. All right. So I'm just going to show us what the interface for Google Cloud looks like, what Azure looks like, and I think Razak will show us what AWS looks like and what you can do on AWS. So after confirming details, you get logged in. So if you can, you see my screen, guys.
Yes, Joshua, we can see your screen.
Yeah, we are with you. We can see
All
you.
right. So all right, so this is the Google Cloud platform. So this is what the Google Cloud interface looks like. So you have where you can view, um, so from the drop down, you can view all the interfaces you can interact with on the platform. So you have security, basically security for your cloud and compliance. You have a documentation getting started, so you can read up on cloud. So they are even release notes on updates. So my Abrazak talked IAM. So IAM is a cloud thing. It's not just restricted to um, AWS. So I am an admin. So how do you manage the users that come into your cloud platform? There's also support. You can open cases or issues that you have on your platform. So there's the API service, there's billing. So billing is a very important place because you get to see the cost of everything you do on AWS. So if you go down, you have the compute section. Basically, this has to do with every computing resource on your platform. So your app engine, your compute engines, your servers, your Kubernetes. So if you are more into cloud and into cloud computing processes like machine learning, data analysis, some of these things will be familiar to you. So another thing is storage. So you can also monitor the storage instances as well. Another thing is database. So there are various services for database as well. Another thing is you can manage your network, the network of your cloud. So are you using the default network set up by Google, or are you using a custom made network? So you need some level of networking knowledge to actually go ahead and deploy your own customized cloud network. And you have the operations part where you can monitor, debug, error reporting. You can log things that happen on your server, view server logs for all your servers. And also you have Google custom tools. So like I said, not all the services on this platform, these cloud platforms are the same. So they might have the same functionality, but the services might be very different. So that's for the Google Cloud platform. Just because of time, so we won't be able to go into a lot because it's a wide topic anyways. Next, for Azure, I'm just going to show us what the Microsoft interface looks like as well, and Abrazak will take it from there. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
like I said, once you complete your registration, you are redirected to um your home page. Yep. So the internet is really acting up today. I'm just going to reload that. So from there, you get redirected to your Microsoft Azure homepage. So, so this is the interface for Microsoft Azure. You can see it looks kind of similar to Google Cloud, but they are not the same thing. But they have features that might look alike. So you can see virtual machines here as well. You can see database. You can see storage accounts. You can see virtual network, so your networking aspect. You can see monitoring, you can see security center, you can see cost management and billing. So this is the interface for your Microsoft Azure service. So Abdrazak, I believe you can take it from here to show our viewers the AWS platform.
All right, thank you very much, Joshua. I'll be sharing my screen now. Please confirm that you can see my screen. Joshua, could you please do that for me?
You can see your screen.
All right. So, like I said earlier, if you want to log in after the registration process, which is similar to the two Joshua has shown us, like I said, aws.amazon to take it again, .amazon.com. And when you get there, you can come to, okay. Actually, here you're supposed to, once you click on that, and then it's going to take you to this page where you can log in as a root user, or if you're an IAM user, you can also log in as well. So this is where you create your new account. So I'll just go ahead to log in. Okay, it's asking me for my password. Then of which I've entered, then it's asking me for a multi-factor authentication. And let's read what it says here. Your account is secured using multi-factor authentication. So to finish signing in, turn on or view your MFA device and type the authentication code. So if you're familiar with internet banking, and there's a device called a token, hardware token, where for every transaction you want to initiate on your online banking platform, you have to enter a series of numbers that's been generated maybe every 30 seconds or 15 seconds, as the case may be, just to authenticate that transfer to show that you are who you say you are. So now this has already been configured with my account just for further authentication when I'm trying to log in. So then I'll open my Google Authenticator. It's an app on Play Store. You can also get it on Apple Store if you're using an iPhone. So it has been configured with my account. Very easy to do. All that you can do during the sign-up process as well. So I'm going to enter the code that's displaying on my Google Authenticator now. Then I'm going to submit. And yeah, voila, I'm in. So it's going to take me to the home page. So this is the home page of AWS. This is what it looks like. There are a whole lot of service here. So much. So much. And then if you look at the top right corner, you can see my name. So, and my accounts, my organization. I can check my service quota. I can check my billing dashboard, of which Joshua has mentioned before. And then look at this location. This is called an availability zone. So that is the availability zone. That's the region where I want to deploy whatever it is I want to deploy. If I'm trying to deploy a server, so it is always advisable to pick an availability zone close to your region. So in my case, I think I'll prefer the North Virginia. Okay, so, and then, so let me take you through some services here. So once you click on this service at the top left corner, you can see different services on Amazon. So just not to waste our time, we're just going to be talking about the EC2 here under compute. This is an example of an infrastructure as a service. And then we're going to look at the S3 storage, and then which is and the S3 buckets I talked about, where you can save your files, object-oriented storage. This storage is not a storage where you can install your OS or install a software. It is just for objects, to store your objects, to store your files, like pictures, documents, and the rest. So, and I'm just going to go through some of the services if I still have time. So I want to try to deploy a Windows server on the cloud, and then you see what it looks like and how quick you can do these things. You know, most of the time people talk about cloud, deploying this on the cloud, doing that on the cloud, and then we think, okay, this is too theoretical. It is actually very practical. There are things you can do yourself. So under services, I'm going to click on EC2. EC2 stands for Elastic Compute Cloud. So once I click on EC2, all right, so I presently don't have any instance running, so you can click on launch instance right here. There are so many ways you can launch the instance. You can come to this, click on the instance right here, and then go to the top right corner and you click on launch instance. So once you click on that, it's going to take you to this page where you choose the type of instance you want to launch, and I'll be picking Microsoft Server 2019 base. I'd have loved to deploy a Linux server, but then just because some of us are very new to the cloud and we are very new to, we are used to Windows. We have Windows on our computer. We see Windows almost every day. So I'll be using the Windows server. So I'm going to click on select.
Sorry, Abdurazak, I have an addition to make.
Okay.
Okay, so the first thing is for signing into AWS, it is not always so complicated, because what he did was he enabled a security feature, which is the multi-factor authentication. If you don't enable that, all you need to do is put your password and your email address, and it will bring you to the dashboard. Second of all, while you are in these cloud platforms, you will see, because you are using a free tier account, you see computing resources that have been labeled to free tier accounts. So just to guide you, so you don't go and deploy servers that are not free tier eligible, so that you don't get, your credit card doesn't get billed. So you can go on, Abdulrazak.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the addition, Joshua. So I can see here, I'm going to be picking my instance type. There are so many instances for different purposes. So for this T2 micro is like a general purpose instance, and it has a moderate computing ability, leads to moderate computing ability. So I'll be going to the free tier account, and I'm going to click on configure instance details at the bottom right corner here. All right, so look at this. You can see number of instances. I can deploy 10, 5, any number of instances I want at the same time. Imagine deploying 5 servers at the same time. So that's how easy it is working with the cloud. And we have so many features here that I can't go through right now. And you can see the IAM role. You can see the network, the subnet, and all that. So I'm going to be deploying just one instance, and then I'm going to click on add storage at the bottom right corner. Then you can see for free tier, I've been given a storage of 30 gigabytes, and it's a general purpose storage. You have others, you have the magnetic, you have the provision IOPS for different purposes. You can use this for, if you're maybe for data warehousing and so many other features that requires little or no latency. So I'm going to be using the general purpose for this, for the sake of this session. And I'm not going to be encrypting my drive. I'm just going to leave it. And this option, this box is saying delete on termination. So once I'm done with the server and I decide to terminate it, I'm saying it should delete the server immediately, so I don't get billed for something I'm not using. So at the bottom right corner again, you can click on add tags. So yeah, I can actually add tags. So for here, I can say name for keys, and a value, I can call it demo, and then I click on configure security groups. So for security groups, after launching my Windows server, I'm going to be logging in through RDP. RDP is the remote desktop protocol, a feature on Microsoft to connect remotely to Microsoft servers. So I'm going to click on review and launch finally. So I'm going to be allowing the RDP into that server that I'm deploying, and it's going to be using the port 3389. And this is basically saying I should be able to access the server using RDP from the IP address 000, meaning anywhere in the world. So I can decide to restrict it to just my IP. So maybe it's a particular, okay, this, for instance, this is my public IP. I could decide to restrict it to this public IP. So anytime I want to access this server through RDP, I have to access it through this IP alone. But for the sake of this class, let's just put custom. You can as well put anywhere. So, and it's warning me that, okay, that's a very, very bad security. That's a very, very bad implementation. It's not security conscious. So it's saying the rule with source 00 allow all IP to access your instance. We recommend setting security group rules to allow access from known IP addresses only. So, but I'm just going to continue, and then I'm going to click on launch. So now it's asking me to create key pair. Very quickly, I will explain the concept of key pair. I'm supposed to create a new key pair, but because I have an existing key pair, I'll just be using one of the key pairs I already have. Okay, it's not reflecting here, so maybe I'll just have to create a new key pair again. So I can call my key pair, I can say it's my key pair 1. All right. So then I'll download the key pair. So it's downloaded present. Okay, fine. Now I'll save it somewhere I can always access it. Let me save it here in my desktop. I'll say these are my existing key pairs. So I'm going to add just one to it. And you can see it's downloading my key pair. And the concept of key pair very quickly is like this. This service uses an asymmetric key structure whereby you have two keys. You have the private key and you have the public key. So I can compare the public key to a padlock. So imagine you have 20 padlocks and you have just a master key that can open all the 20 padlocks. And you give people in the public the 20 padlocks. If you want to send me something, you can send it in a box and lock it with the padlock I've given to you. So when they lock it with the padlock, you can only open it with the private key you have with you, which is the master key. So anybody can send you a message and lock it with the padlock, but then only you with the master key can access it. So if you give them your if you give anybody your private key, they'll be able to access your server and they'll be able to check the message people have sent to you. So that's the concept of this key. And so here, this is my private key, and then my public key is with Amazon. They use it to encrypt any of the services I'm using on AWS. So once I want to access any of those services, I will have to use my private key to use the services. So then I'm going to launch instance, and now it's initiating instance launch. It's trying to create my server, and now you can see your instance are now launching. So I can click on view instance. So you can see my instance, the name is demo, and this is the instance ID. The instance state is still pending, still trying to create it. And this is the IP address, the public IPv4 address given to my server. So let's just wait for a while for the server to come up, and then you can see how we can connect to the server, and you will see that I've deployed the Microsoft server right on the cloud. And then just imagine you want to use the Microsoft server to do whatever it is you want to do, and then you deploy it on the cloud without having it on your machine anywhere in the world. You can do that anywhere in the world, and you can access it anywhere in the world once you have internet. So now my instance is running, and I can come here. Okay. I can click on my instance here. Once you click this checkbox and you click on connect, so you click on RDP client. So now you can get password. This is where you get the password. The username is administrator. That's the default username that's been given to your server by Amazon, and then you can get the password. Then how do you get this password? Okay. So, okay, first of all, you can decide to download the remote desktop file. That's one way to log in. And then at the same time, you can also get the password. It's saying the password is not available. Please wait at least 4 minutes after launching an instance before trying to retrieve the auto-generated password. So while we are waiting for Amazon to generate our password, we can download this remote desktop file. And let's put it same place where we saved our key. And I will tell you what this remote desktop file is used for in a bit. Let's just wait to generate our password. So let me just explain right now why we are waiting for our password. The remote desktop file that we just downloaded is just like we want to access YouTube, and then instead of going to your Chrome and type www.youtube.com to access YouTube, and then this RDP file is like downloading the YouTube app where you don't have to go to your browser to enter the YouTube address to access YouTube. So you just open the YouTube app and then voila, you are in YouTube already. So that's what this demo RDP file will be doing for us. So let's see if we can generate our password now. Okay, now it's saying we can generate our password. So it's asking us for the key. So this key is like the master key I told us about. It has been locked with the padlock. So now I need to use my master key to open this padlock and generate my password. So I'll look for where I saved my key, which is right here, my key one. It's a PEM file, PEM file. Then I open it, and this is my private key. Look at what it looks like. This is really crazy, really, really crazy. So, and then you can decrypt the password. After decrypting, now this is the password, auto-generated password. So you can copy it by clicking on this icon. So now it has been copied. So in order to access your server, the server we've created, you can just open this RDP file that you downloaded. So once I double click it, now you can see, you can click on connect, and it's trying to connect. It's asking me for the password, and I just paste the password I have copied. That's the password I generated just now. So then I click on OK. Then it's trying to connect, then click on yes. And it's trying to say configure remote session, and look at what we have here. Yes, we are logged in as an administrator, and here we have our Windows server in the cloud, and it's up and running. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. I'm waiting for the server to fully come up. So you can see in this case, fine, we are in. And you can see I told you about the storage I was giving for the free tier account the other time. I said I was giving 30 gigabytes. So I will show you. I could have added another storage, but then
Razak, I'm not sure we can see your Windows server. Still on your AWS.
Please, can anyone?
It's still on
can
your
anyone
AWS
see my Windows server?
dashboard.
Oh. Okay. Let me stop sharing my screen and do it again. Can you see my screen now?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, now this is my Windows server, and you can see the public IP, the private IP, the T2 micro I selected the other time, and the availability zone I selected, which is Virginia, and then the total memory have been allocated. And now I was trying to show you the space, the storage space, which is 30 gigabytes. And you can see it here. I could have added more, but I decided to just go with 30 gigabytes since it's just a demo. And I can do whatever it is I like on my server. It's just like your Windows, except that it's server. You can see Windows server, so you can configure whatever it is you like, your Active Directory and the rest of that. So setting up my Windows server, I don't need to buy any hardware. I don't need to buy maybe a Dell computer to install my Windows server or HP computer to install my Windows server. All I need is a cloud account with AWS. And look what I have here, my Windows server. So, okay. Another way to connect to my server is
Abdurazak, I think that was all.
okay. All right, because of time, do I still have time to demonstrate the S3 storage?
No, might have to do that another time.
All right. Okay. So
Hello. Hello. Good evening once again. So sorry about the time the presentation of slides and all too. We still have one more slide to present, and this is something we do at every community event. So please bear with us. Let's please do this. It should be done in 5 minutes, less
Okay.
than 5 minutes actually. Um, Joshua, can you? And thank you to our speaker, Joshua Kolawole and Abdulrazak Salaudin. Thank you very much for the knowledge you have imparted or passed to us. And I know that we all learned one or two things. I don't know if questions were taken because I went off for a bit. I had something very crucial to attend to. I don't know if questions were taken. So if you have questions, you can communicate your questions or send your questions. And once I'm done with this slide, it will be answered by the speakers. So I'm here to talk about our Bincom Dev Center services. What we do at Bincom Dev Center. Next slide, please. Let's quickly. Next slide. Okay, so these are some of our services we offer at Bincom Dev Center. We have the Bincom Global Tech Program, and Bincom Global Tech Program is a program where persons or interested persons register to learn skills, gain experience, and gain exposure in tech. And the fee is 1.2 million naira, but with the help of the income sharing agreement, you get to learn tech now and pay later. So you're not actually paying now for the program. The program is packed with a lot of tech skills that is there for you to learn. It will mold you, shape you, and once you are done with the program, you'll be a tech expert. And you also get to work with real life projects, mentoring, and you will be packed yourself in terms of tech. And once you start earning, you can now pay. So you're not paying now. It's just for you to be a tech expert in the space of 1 to 2 years. And when you start earning, of course you start earning because by then you'll have been an expert yourself, and you'll be sought out for, and you can now pay them. So then we have the emigrate. This helps you become globally attractive, and this is a tech-enabled pathway to relocation and settlement. This is a way of you relocating and earning abroad when you are in tech. So what will give you the privilege or the opportunity to key into this emigrate program is that you need to be tech inclined. You need to have something doing in tech, maybe a tech startup or something in tech, really in tech, that you can offer to these countries, and you have the opportunity to be there. Then the Bincom mentoring platform is structured mentoring solution to help mentors add value to mentees for the purpose of building globally tech attractive techies. So this is just a platform where mentors meet with mentees and build them globally and make them attractive in terms of tech. Next slide, please. Next slide. Next slide. Can you go back? I think you missed a slide. You missed a slide. Yeah, go back. I don't want to take all. I just want to do a summary of all the slides. I can't take them one by one. We spent a lot of time. There's a slide before the first one I took. A slide before this one. Yeah. Now you have the Bincom Academy. So the Bincom Academy is a training based on a Montessori approach where participants learn basic skills in the modern technology ecosystem. It's a program that runs for 4 weeks, a month, 8 contact session, and people apply. We have the people either pay or and some persons are giving scholarships to the program, and it's a Montessori approach, and we take programming classes, programming courses, project management courses, digital marketing, graphic designing, and it's also very, very packed. Then we have the Bincom Tech Internship. This is to enable people at intermediate skill level gain mastery and expertise over a period of time. So this is for persons with intermediate skill, and they come to they are being employed or taken into Bincom Dev Center to gain more skills. Then we have the Bincom, and they are also paid stipends every month. Then we have the Bincom Tech Apprenticeship. This is just on the job training, where person apply. Uh, the fee is 100K. They apply, and they are being taken into the organization. And even if they have little or no tech skill, they get to learn, and also they learn on the job. They are trained on the job. Then we have the Bincom community event, which is what we just did, what we are doing, and this year to giving back to the community and building a tech ecosystem. And this is a way of exposing you to current technology. Like we got to know about cloud computing and all. So we have various community events, and we have subsequent one that will be coming up to be communicated to everyone. Lightspace is co-working space, and intended to encourage collaboration and drive innovation in startup ecosystem. So this is a space where people who wants to work from a particular location, maybe they don't want to go to their office, they can come to our light space and use our co-working space for 1,000 naira per day. We have the event space. Our light space can contain 30 to 40 persons. Our event space, event space can be used for seminars, conferences, and all. You can also check out our Bincom Dev Center website to find out more and also register. And we are located in various locations: Yaba, Ibadan, Kano, Kaduna, Ijebu, Igbo, Wari. And also we hope to expand to other locations by God's grace. So thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much for listening, and have a good evening.